Hello everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at QNT. This is actually a request I've gotten a lot of recently, and I've covered it a few times in the past. And it's one of those interesting coins that has a tendency of really taking off. So we want to kind of find out if it has the opportunity to continue and ultimately understand if this is going to be a healthy continuation or if it's going to just turn right back around. Again, that being said, not a financial advisor, love teaching people to trade. I hope you can learn something here today. And if you do, comment below, let me know if you are happy with your experience here. If not, that's cool too. Feel free to also consider becoming a community member. I send out signals for every single trade that I take. I provide you with a trading academy as well as a community, and it's just an awesome learning experience for everyone involved. We have over 200 active members right now, so come and check it out. Once again, CryptoCache.tech is a site, link in the description below. I have discounts for military and third world countries as well. Feel free to message me direct. Only use the contact information in the comments below though, because I will never solicit you or direct message you. I'll respond, but I won't initiate, okay? So that being said, taking a look here at Quant, QNT, what is going on? Well, obviously last 24 to 48 hours, we're up a pretty decent margin. So we look at the last 48 hours, bottom to top, 45% growth in 48 hours. That's pretty strong, pretty good. We like to see that. But of course, we want to understand, key level resistances, supports, etc., and kind of understand, what could happen next. And what we want to do is kind of take a quick look here. We can see where the price spent the most amount of time when it sold off back in January. We're looking at right in the range of about $92 as a close approximate. So that could very well be a resistance level coming forward here, because you can see the area right there was tested multiple times. Okay, so again, definitely something to kind of think about. More so closer to about $94 is the number there. Okay, so we could have a resistance level there as well. Furthermore, we also want to take a look at overexhaustion and kind of understand what that looks like. We'll take a peek at that next, but what we want to also understand first is key level resistances on the moving average. Now, moving averages on the daily, to me, are the most effective. We got the 200, the 50, and the 20, and the 200 right here is absolutely telling us that we are underneath the key level resistance, but we also need to be respectful of the fact that that could essentially average itself out here, depending on where the price action goes. So we could very well see a point of contention right around $94, upwards of 110. Okay, so just keep in mind we're traveling into some resistance zones, which is important to acknowledge. We also want to understand here too, we're overextended on the daily for the RSI. Now, if you look at its past, it's done this before. Okay, so it's not to say that the price being up over 70 on the RSI, price is going to immediately drop or come back down. Quant actually doesn't necessarily do that. Obviously, when it overextended itself, like it did back in September, it had some pretty decent sell-offs from there, but we're well away from that right now. Okay, we don't have to worry about any massive sell-offs. I personally don't feel from QNT at this moment, based on RSI specifically. But if you do look at this, you can see where the RSI came above 70. It stayed above for a long time. So July 28th all the way to August 6th. So we're looking at about a week's worth of trading above that level. And this looks like a very, very similar type of pattern that we're seeing right now. It started off with one or two solid green candlesticks, followed by a day or two of consolidation, and then of course another increase. So what I'm getting at here is now that we're up over 70 on the RSI, there's a strong chance that'll work as a support level. So the price does come back down. It'll probably retest one of these levels here. In fact, we can kind of draw that out here as well. You can see this kind of line in the sand here is also right around $75, where the price action had trouble getting past multiple times throughout the last month or two. Now that it's above that, that should essentially work as a support level. Okay, so we should see a nice strong support right around 75, upwards of a resistance at 94 and 110. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at here for the moment. We're right in the middle of that range, which is nice. And there's a decent chance that QNT could consolidate sideways before it legs up to break that key level resistance. Okay, so again, something to think about. Take a look here at the 4 hour. Here's an example of how that resistance level had worked. You can see obviously this area that I just drew out where we spent the most amount of time resisting there. Okay, the price action couldn't go past. Now that it has, look at this here though. Look at how it did it. We did it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 4-hour candlesticks there. Essentially 20 hours of consolidation at that resistance level, and then it broke to the upside. So this is referred to commonly as a pennant, a bull pennant pattern, or sometimes you could say it's even a bull flag pattern, where the price action breaks up. Where this looks more like a pennant pattern to me, but regardless of that fact, that's what happened, and that's how it worked. It continued to test that resistance level multiple times and broke. That being said, if the price were to come back down and retrace, it wouldn't be terrible because it'd likely bounce off 75. or sorry, I think it's 76 is a close approximate, right around $76. So a good DCA target, or just say, you want the price to come back down, try to a good entry target, if you were to wait, would be somewhere in the range of 78 to 80, because it'd come back down. In most cases, when you see a resistance level like this broken, the price comes up and comes back down to retest and then continues higher. Okay, so we should experience something along those lines, perhaps in the near future here. Again, this being a weekend, typically there's lower volume, but we see a strong, obvious, very strong amount of volume here today. Okay, so there's probably likely a fundamental catalyst. This could also be somewhat of a short squeeze. Oftentimes that does happen at key level resistances once we break through that plane. A lot of shorts sell off, and of course they sell to the longs, and the price goes up faster. It's essentially what's going to happen there, or had already potentially happened already. So again, at this point, what we want to do is kind of look at some other things as well. Let's take a look at TD sequential, and we can see on the 4-hour, we were upwards of 7 4-hour candlesticks in to this potential continuation. In other words, 28 hours, if I'm doing my math correctly, we're looking about almost 30 hours consistent from bottom to top where the price action continued higher. Okay. In most cases, you'll see the price action continue lower from there and or consolidate and retrace and bounce. We saw it break through instead. So that's a good sign. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just that you'd want to expect the price action to not go tremendously higher in the immediate future based on that sentiment because we're overextended. Okay. Just something to recognize. So there's no guarantee the price is going to continue down, but if it does, it should likely retest this level at about 76. And I think it's more likely a stronger potential than it would be the inverse. Because we look here at its past, like we've seen a 9 here, TD sequential, gets down to a reset, hit a 9 again, another reset, and we're up to an 8. Okay, so we're seeing consistent 9s from QNT, which does imply that we might see this kind of price action right up here. Okay, so we could very well see something along those lines. All right, so again, there's no guarantees, of course. When you hit a 9, doesn't necessarily mean it's just going to instantly reverse on you, but we are definitely further into this continuation than we should be. Okay, or the price action is higher than where it should be comfortably, because you want to have a healthy continuation, not an unhealthy one. And this, I wouldn't say is unhealthy, but it's pretty telling as to why the price is where it's at, right? RSI is extremely over 70 on the 4-hour as well, which to me is in most cases a red flag. You can see it came down and kind of bounced essentially right here and continued. So ultimately, the 4-hour does look good, except for the fact that we see an overextension on the relative strength index as well as, of course, TD sequential. Okay, so again, those are just things to understand and acknowledge. Again, all we're doing is building a case here to try to find out which direction it's going to head. And in truth, it's a bit on the overextended side, so how much further can it go? Well, let's take a look at that here. On the 1-hour, we can see we hit a 9 as well, and we got some consolidation. Now we're up to a 6. So hypothetically, just say we keep hitting these 9s and getting the reset, we have potential of 3 more hours of continuation of the upside. Okay, so we could very well see that 110 level retested, or probably more importantly, initially $94 at first. Okay, so that's something we could see. Furthermore, as well, if we look at the cloud, of course, it's going to give us all green lights here. Again, not necessarily saying that you want to take a long position, but holding a long position open would be perfectly fine. Okay, there's no indication you want to sell it at all. Even if it is overextended at this point, even if it comes back down, it'll still maintain this level. And even if it were to come back down to say over here, we have the cloud essentially protecting us here, essentially allowing us to know that we are on the right side of the tracks. So ultimately, we see a lot of good stuff here from QNT. Just be mindful that we could see a retracement, and with this increased amount of volume, it's very helpful, but it's hard to say specifically. What we could also do is take a look here and see how much further this continuation could go, depending on a few factors. So we could take a look at this here, and that kind of lines up perfectly with $94 based on the most recent retracement. So we go ahead and take the previous data based on June 13th upwards of the highest point at June 26th, roughly about 2 weeks worth of trading. We can see the price action kind of stayed within this range. Now that we've broken through that in the last couple of days, you can see we're working our way right through these Fibonacci retracement levels, and $94 is reaffirming itself as a resistance. So strong likelihood the price will consolidate either sideways or come down a little bit, and then likely potentially retest $94 eventually. So again, there's definitely no guarantees on the price action coming down, but I would just say don't be surprised if it does, right? Because maintaining this kind of price point We can see even on the daily here as well, TD sequential, we're 7 days into this continuation. How much further can it go? In most cases, it doesn't usually go too much past a 9. We see some outliers, of course, where we saw some extra overtime here as well. But generally speaking, we're in a position right now where the price action is looking good. It's moderately healthy. We're just kind of getting overextended on not only the daily, but the 4-hour as well. So again, I would say another 3 more hours, we could very well see a slight reversal. It may not be super strong. We're not going to price isn't just going to go straight down. But I would be prepared for somewhere in the range of 76 to 80 as a relative bottom here in the immediate future for a potential retest of 94. I think that's kind of what we're looking for. So ultimately, yeah, looking pretty darn good here for QNT. We'll keep an eye on it, of course, help understand the next couple of days what's going on with this guy. But I like what I see here so far. It definitely looks like it wants to continue to progress. And ultimately, definitely one of the stronger altcoins out there right now. So thanks again for the request. I greatly appreciate it. And I look forward to work with you if you want to become a community member again. Learn from my trading academy, learn from my signals, and just become a better trader. The best time to learn is in this type of environment we're in right now, when the market is down, because there's a saying that millionaires are made in their second bull run. Okay, so again, the first one's always interesting because a lot of folks got in it too late and they're in the red right now. Totally understandable, but it's not to say it's not going to come back. And if you do things correctly now, position yourself effectively, this next increase will be fantastic. This next bull run will be nice, whenever that happens. So thank you, Bitcoin, for trending around 22,000. And at this point, we'll look forward to seeing the next video. Have a great rest of your day. We'll take care.